After more than 2 decades of debate, it seems Thunder Bay City Council has finally approved a designated truck route. Good evening, I'm Ryan Benazzo. Thank you for joining us. The DTR would push the majority of transport truck traffic onto Highway 1117 and off of Dawson Road and Arthur Street, where many safety concerns have been raised. But not all council members are on board. Some argue that the Thunder Bay Expressway should be made safer before moving more traffic onto it. Jessica Clement has the details.
Monday night's council meeting saw the final debate on the designated truck route, which would reroute heavy trucks from Dawson Road and Arthur Street onto Highway 1117.
We have experts, Thunder Bay Police, and we have our city administration saying it's a safer route, and we recommend implementing a safer route.
At-large councillor Trevor Gertuga has been a longtime proponent of a DTR, emphasizing that it will make Dawson Road and Arthur Street safer.
In the urban portion of Dawson Road, there was 192 collisions. And people talk about Kakabeka. There was 11 collisions in Kakabeka, 4 in Ignace. That has the same amount of transport going through it.
McIntyre Ward Councillor Albert Aiello agrees, noting the highway is better suited to support transport trucks.
That is fact. It's better equipped to handle the traffic of today, and it is recommended by the experts. So we're not making that up. It's a better road.
However, councillors against the DTR feel they're just moving the safety problem to another location.
You take the number of trucks that we're suggesting and move them from Dawson to the other route. These numbers are going to move from one place to the other.
I myself can't support a DTR with some form of confidence that we are not creating a problem on the Thunder Bay Expressway.
At-large councillor Mark Bentz isn't against the idea of a designated truck route, but wanted more safety measures like advanced warning lights in place before moving hundreds of trucks onto Highway 1117. He motioned for the DTR to be referred back to city staff so they can work with the Ministry of Transportation and local MPPs on safety upgrades to the expressway.
We should be making sure that our staff has unturned every rock possible to make that corridor the safest for the thousands of people that use it a day.
Commissioner of Infrastructure Kayla Dixon says administration did go to the province to discuss additional advanced warning lights.
Each one of those has reviewed the need for advanced warning lights, and they have each confirmed that they're not required. So as such, the current operations of the traffic signals are most appropriate.
Bentz's referral was defeated 9-4. The route passed in an 8-5 vote. The new bylaw will come into effect in 90 days. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
And Cam River Heritage Park will not be the site for a temporary shelter village, and administration will now have to go back to the drawing board to find a suitable location. Last night, council reversed its previous decision to approve the site, citing the higher than anticipated risk management costs. Justin Hardy reports.
In a 12-1 vote, council passed a motion to cancel the plans for a temporary shelter village at Cam River Heritage Park. The site is no longer a viable option due to the risk management costs being too high. Administration will now once again come back with a revised list of suitable locations that will include previously rejected sites, according to City Manager John Collin.
Miles Street would be on the table, as would the site on Cumberland. The site that cannot be back on the table is the LRCA site because they have pulled their support.
That concerns me. I mean, we're back on the merry-go-round.
At-large councillor Mark Bent says it's unfortunate this process continues to drag on.
Upsetting all the people in the North End again, upsetting all the people in the South Core, and perhaps getting another site that is even more difficult to please the community. This is becoming a very intensive and painful process.
At-large councillor Rajni Agarwal suggested an amendment to exclude Miles and Cumberland from administration's list to allow them to focus on new locations.
I do not want to go backwards and tell the community, hey, your input needs to be reversed now. So those 3 sites I'd like to take off of this table and amend it.
But that amendment lost 11-2, with councillors saying they don't want to limit city staff's options.
I don't want to tie their hands, and they need to bring back all possible options. And if we revisit something, We revisited the DTR 10 times.
It's okay to revisit. I don't feel comfortable pulling that one off. I'd feel more comfortable just pulling miles off, given that we're about to invest $20 million into the core.
City staff will report back with a new possible location on July 14th. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Council also voted last night to maintain the city's current tax ratio, going against the recommendation of city staff. Despite that, the average homeowner can still expect a 3.5% increase to their tax bill over last year. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Local pet owners know all too well just how tough it can be to find a vet, but Lakehead University's new veterinary medicine program aims to relieve that burden. A local facility for the students to learn in is still a ways off, but the school held a ground blessing ceremony at the site today. Ryan Graham was there.
The new Lakehead University veterinary program, being offered in partnership with Guelph University, hopes to eventually ensure there are more vets for local pet owners. But that's still a ways off. Today, LU, with the help of a First Nations elder, blessed the ground on which the new facility will be built.
I think the ceremony was a really poignant illustration of what makes this a unique program. So we're working in partnership with the University of Guelph's Ontario Veterinary College, world-class vet college, very exciting. What Lakehead brings is the north. And as you know, all the students who will go into this program must be from the north.
Today is about blessing the ground for the construction of the new veterinary clinic here at Lakehead University, which is really going to be foundational in the provision of care for animals, attracting veterinary professionals, doctors to practice in Thunder Bay.
The first expansion of veterinary education in Ontario in over a generation is being aided by a $2 million investment from the province. The added capacity is expected to greatly ease the burden on local vet clinics.
If you look at the service area that the north represents and where Lakehead University resides, we're servicing 3/4 of the size of the province of Ontario. So communities, connecting farmers and agribusinesses and families to animal care, proper animal care. That's for the food value chain and for people's household pets.
Well, I think we're all connected. The Indigenous people believe that the four-legged, the winged, and the fish, and the swimmers and the crawlers are all connected.
Lakehead University will begin construction soon on the veterinary medicine building, but it's still unclear just how long it will take. The space is expected to be high-tech, with plenty of room for educators and students and the animals they'll care for. Ryan Graham, TBT News.
Anishinaabe police have arrested a 30-year-old man in connection to an apparent stabbing in Casablanca Lake First Nation on Sunday. The accused is said to have attacked another man with a weapon and then assaulted another female who tried to intervene. The stabbing victim was transported to the Thunder Bay Regional Hospital with injuries that aren't believed to be life-threatening. The accused faces 4 charges, including aggravated assault. Members of the Lake Superior Scottish Regiment, the primary reserve infantry unit of the Canadian Forces here in Thunder Bay, have returned home from an important assignment in Kananaskis, Alberta, protecting world leaders at the G7 summit. For about 3 weeks, the soldiers volunteered their time to join the crucial mission of protecting the perimeter in the Rocky Mountains surrounding the conference. They served as part of the Integrated Safety and Security Group under direction of the RCMP. Well, they're now back at home following a successful mission.
My role was to ensure the security was maintained so that no unauthorized personnel would come through and disturb the G7 summit. We had our specific tasks where we either looked at locations or went on patrols. That way that if we did see someone, we reported up and that person will either be detained or told to leave the area. We accomplished a mission, nothing bad happened, which is what we want for the op. And I'm glad to be back knowing that nothing happened during that summit.
The reservists were greeted by family and loved ones at the Thunder Bay International Airport this afternoon. The Ford government has released what it says are the finalized renderings for the controversial Ontario Place redevelopment, which include a private spa that's drawn the ire of many Torontonians and opposition members at Queen's Park. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the story.
It's very much a work in progress, a tangle of fences and construction workers on the edge of Lake Ontario. But unveiling new renderings of a revamped Ontario Place, the Premier is dreaming big.
Enjoy stunning beaches and wetlands, canoeing, boating, kayaking along our beautiful waters, and taking in concerts, markets, and festivals. This is going to be spectacular.
The complex includes 50 acres of public space, including trails, marinas, and beaches. There's a year-round concert venue, the controversial private spa and water park, and new plans for a 3,500-spot, 5-story parking garage on the edge of Lake Ontario. Doug Ford insists it will be blended into the environment.
Well, it's going to be beautiful. We're going to have a berm at the front. You'll barely even see a parking lot.
With plans to add a fountain, some Instagrammable signs.
You watch, it's going to be probably the #1 place where people will take pictures.
The bill, $400 million, but Ford insists it will generate $60 million a year for the province.
That will be going right into Ontario coffers to pay for health care, education, infrastructure.
His goal here is to make money off the backs of the people of Ontario to access their own parkland.
While there had been talk about moving the lot across the street, the Premier says this location is more convenient.
It's going to block views of this project from the lakeshore and from the city and sort of cut it off.
Guaranteed parking, a contractual agreement with Therme Canada, the company building the spa at Ontario Place. A spokesperson says now there's parking scattered all over.
All this is a way of consolidating them to create more space for green parks and beaches and free places for people to visit.
Therme's updated plans will be released next month. This master plan doesn't include imaginings of the new Science Centre planned for Ontario Place, a year after its home at Don Mills in Eglinton was abruptly closed.
We're in the market to find the appropriate builder for the Science Centre currently right now today. We anticipate to have results in the fall.
The government has insisted the Science Centre will have more exhibit space, even though the footprint will be half the size.
That was CTV's Siobhan Morris. Imagine this, you come home for lunch from an afternoon of work only to find the garden in your front yard that you work hard to maintain has been ripped apart with little to nothing left. That's exactly what happened to one woman in the Bay Algoma area over the weekend. Colleen Blaney was heartbroken to find her garden nearly picked clean, and when she and her fiance looked over security footage, they saw this, what appears to be a person rummaging through the garden for about an hour. Unfortunately, it's not enough to identify the culprit. Blaney says the perpetrator left very little evidence and very few of her plants behind.
And a 2-foot space of creeping jenny, which is the small yellow leaves. I'm missing 3 different variegated hostas, a pink sebum, a pink bee balm, and they ripped down both of my tall ferns, which are hopefully recovering the little leaves now, but the leaves themselves are all ripped out. I moved up here from Southern Ontario. My mom's an avid gardener, and she brought all of these out for me. So I didn't buy too many, but my mom sends me flowers every year, and some of them are from her gardens back home. The positive side is the absolute outpouring of love and support from people online, posting in the Thunder Bay gardening group, who shared their own stories of what happened to them and their family members, and also offering to give me stuff, donate stuff, come help out.
Blaney says she's been blown away by that support. She wants other gardeners to be aware and on guard to ensure this doesn't happen to them as well. We're just 1 week away from our country's 158th birthday. Canada Day is next Tuesday. Revelers in Thunder Bay can look forward to a full day of free festivities at Fort William Historical Park and at the waterfront. As Jaden Billick explains, this year's events are all about celebrating Canada's cultural diversity.
Hip hip huzzah!
2025 Canada Day will celebrate Thunder Bay's cultural diversity. That includes a full day of activities at Fort William Historical Park. General Manager Patrick Morash says in light of this year's folklore festival being cancelled, they've invited many of the performing groups that typically perform there to share their heritage at the historical park.
Canada Day is always a special day at Fort William Historical Park because we celebrate all of the cultures that were present both historically and today, and Canada Day gives us an opportunity to expand on that and really to reach out to a lot of local and regional visitors for an opportunity to come and take in the sights and sounds, music, dancing, lots of wonderful food and activities for the kids.
And that holds true over at Marina Park, where there'll be a full afternoon and evening of entertainment. Visitors are encouraged to celebrate and learn about our nation's diverse heritage together. Parking is always a concern on Canada Day. That's why free shuttles will be available at the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium.
And they will be running about every 15-ish minutes, so there's 2 different buses. So we just encourage everybody to park at the community auditorium, take the free shuttle over to Marina Park, and then back again. So we have programmed the entire park this year, so we're really excited. So right from the Spirit Garden all the way over to the festival area, I just invite everybody to come down to Marina Park. Please join us for Canada Day. It's going to be a really big one, and there's tons of stuff to do, so please come out.
The full schedule of events can be found on the City of Thunder Bay website. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Well, we can only hope that the weather on Canada Day will be as nice, Haley, as it has been for the past couple of days. And today, really pretty picturesque out there.
Yeah, I'd say we hit the sweet spot with today. We were right around seasonal for our high. We were expecting a high of 24 actually, but we got to 23, which isn't bad at all, no complaints, because our humidex made it feel like 25, so we were still feeling quite lovely. And it was mainly sunny for the most part as well. Our low was 10 degrees, which we saw at 6 in the morning, so not too bad there, still staying in the double digits. And winds were relatively light for most of the day as well. We just saw some gustiness from the northwest in the late morning around 10, 11 a.m., but even then not too bad, just around 27 kilometers an hour. As for the region today, generally beautiful across the board. Some areas a little cooler than others. In the north, we see Red Lake, Sioux Lookout, and Armstrong all at around 19 degrees, Pickle Lake 18. And these are still their highs for the day. We see mostly cloudy skies in Red Lake. Now they have had increasing cloudiness throughout the day, so they started off sunnier. And they have had very light winds, which is nice to see. Sioux Lookout's kind of the reverse with sky conditions. Their clouds have been clearing as the day goes on. Their winds have been calm as well. And that matching high of 19. And with Armstrong, they've been seeing a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day. Now, a little further southwest, we see Fort Frances at 21, matching that of Kenora and Atikokan. We see a few 20s sprinkled in there too in Dryden and Upsala. Very nice days across the board there. A mix of sun and cloud for the most part, but very nice and sunny in Fort Frances right now, and sunny all day in Dryden. And for the most part, areas like Atikokan didn't really experience much of a humidex factor today. So when they see 21, that's what they're feeling like. Now, there were a few areas that had a bit more of an interesting day. For example, Greenstone has a high of 20 right now, but they did see some winds from the west-northwest, making it a little gusty at times earlier in the morning. They're nice and sunny now, though. Nipigon, you could see they had a bit of a cooler day in comparison. They're at 17 right now, and their winds were actually from the north-northeast, moderate at times, so around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. 16 in Marathon, 14 in Wawa. They did have a high of 15, but they experienced some morning fog. And down in Sault Ste. Marie, they're at 18 right now, but they did have a high of 20, and their winds were from the west-northwest, and they're just a mix of sun and cloud right now. As for tonight in Thunder Bay, we'll have a clear evening, a low of 8, so we will dip into the single digits tonight, but I would call this comfortable. We've had a few what I would call very warm evenings with some humidex playing a factor. So a bit of a light, cool night is not too bad. Winds will be light as well. So hopefully this will be nice and comfortable for sleeping tonight, Ryan. And it should lead into the rest of the week being fairly comfortable here, which is nice because it's quite hot in other areas of the country.
Absolutely. Yeah, we know what's happening in southern Ontario. So nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
We will absolutely take that. Thanks a lot, Haley.